Broadcasting live from the WGBB World Headquarters here in New York. This is the Big Fat Joey Show with your host, Big Fat Joey.
Hey everyone, good morning. It's Big Fat Joey, Big Fat Joey Show. Biggest thing on radio. Since out on assignment, so it's me, myself, and I you have today. Well, it's a brisk Sunday morning. Remember to have turned your clocks back 1 hour. It is 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and make sure you get your clocks turned back an hour. I wouldn't want you to miss the Big Fat Joey Show. But if you happen to have slept in, you can definitely catch our show on its replays on Podbean Podcast, as well as all your favorite streaming services. So listen to the Big Fat Joey Show there. Also today, remember to change the batteries both in your smoke and your carbon monoxide detectors. Do that twice a year. Do it again this upcoming March when you turn your clocks forward. It's definitely a must-do thing. You want to make sure your smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors are in working order. If not, go pick them up at one of your home improvement stores and get yourself a new detector. It's definitely, obviously, it's for safety for you and your family. But we do have a great show today. Up first on our show is Songstress N.Kenge. N.Kenge is an Emmy-nominated pop soul opera singer. She has starred in the Broadway musical MOTOWN, as well as she was a understudy of Vanessa Williams. She has starred in the title role of AIDA in the U.S. She's also sung for the New York City Opera and performed with the Seattle Symphony and numerous other symphonies worldwide. Not only has she done that, she has also performed before both Presidents Clinton and Obama, but now she is on Broadway at the famed Studio 54 in Caroline or Change. Caroline or Change talks about the civil rights movement in the early 1960s in Louisiana. A great musical. Definitely check it out. It's only on for a limited run. It's up to January 9th of 2022. So get your tickets and check out Caroline or Change and N.Kenge. Also, on today's show, we have singer, songwriter, D.K. Lyons. We're going to be hearing his great song, Katie in the Moment, off of his latest album, Vandalism, which just dropped last week on October 29th. All right, everyone. Here we go. Up next is my interview with Songstress N.Kenge. All right, everyone. Let's welcome to the line award-winning songstress N.Kenge. N.Kenge, welcome to Big Fat Joey Show. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine. It's been a thrill to be here on your show and be here at the theater. I'm, just excited that we're going to be opening tomorrow.
Yes. So you have a play that you are in. You're playing the moon. You're in a new play called Caroline or Change. I have a ton of questions, and I'm super excited because there's one thing, you're playing the moon, and there's one thing that you get to do, and I'm curious about it. But before we get into all that, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're coming from, and all the great things you've been doing?
Well, thank you. Yes, I am a native New Yorker, born and raised here in New York City, Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan, you name it. I've been in almost every borough. And I mean, it's a dream come true to be performing on Broadway. I went to school here, Manhattan School of Music and the Juilliard School and Harlem School of the Arts. I got to do a shout out to those amazing schools that really helped develop me as an artist. And I've been singing opera and jazz and musical theater and composing my own music and creating and producing for many years. I do a lot of symphony concerts as well. So I get a chance to dig in a lot of different arenas when it comes to music and when it comes to plays and and shows and orchestra concerts. So I'm very fortunate that I'm able to go through different genres of music, and it allows me to have different experiences performing in Europe, doing opera, and performing here in the States. And I've classically opera trained. I performed opera for many years in Europe, and then I crossed over to the Broadway world, and my symphony concerts kind of bring it all together, because then I can do shows that are catered to both the Broadway and the opera world, and perform it with a full symphony. So I get the best of both worlds when I do these symphony concerts, in which I'm doing a holiday concert with Seattle Symphony in December, and also I'm doing a Whitney Houston tribute show with Jacksonville Symphony in March.
Every woman. See, I guess I got to stick to the interviewing.
And that's one of my songs. Anything you want done, baby, I do it naturally.
and
that's one of my favorite songs.
And you sound so good in that 5 second that you gave us. And actually, there's been a lot of Whitney on the radio lately here in the New York area. And today, I caught a lot of Whitney songs.
Yes, I'm loving it. I grew up with Whitney. I mean, Whitney was my idol. I wanted to be Whitney. I mean, every song I would learn was a Whitney Houston tune. So it was Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey, and I grew up on that stuff.
Yes, Mimi. Love Mimi as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I like to call her Mimi,
Yes, Mimi. Exactly. And then I didn't get introduced to the opera world until I was in high school, and I went to LaGuardia High School Performing Arts, and we went to see a Met Opera rehearsal, and it was Leontine Price doing her farewell performance for AIDA. And I saw Leontine Price on stage and saw representation, someone that looked like me on the opera stage in the most famous opera house in the world. And it made me think, wow, that could be me. And that's kind of what started the transition of me going into the opera world and seeing how I could do in that. And it was so exciting to be in that world. And I still love it. I miss it because I don't get to do as much in opera as I do with Broadway. But I love being able to take part in both of those worlds.
Well, speaking of Broadway, you're playing The Moon in Caroline or Change. Tell us a little bit about the play that you're in, and tell us about your part, because you get to fly on stage. That sounds exciting and a little scary to me.
Yes, I sure do. It's a wonderful musical. It's a revival, actually. Michael Longhurst is the director. Annie is the choreographer, and we are doing this at the Roundabout Theater, and it's a Tony nominated and Olivier Award winning musical. It did the revival in London a couple of years ago, and it got the Olivier Award. And Sharon D. Clarke is the amazing star playing Caroline, and it's such a wonderful musical piece that encompasses a lot of different styles of music, from jazz, blues, to classical. Janine Tesori has done an amazing job doing this musical piece to the lyrics of Tony Kushner, and they make an amazing team. And all of these different styles of music is showcased in these different characters that come to life on stage. And as the moon, I would say the moon is the character that comes to life and really brings compassion and wisdom and safety and warmness to Caroline and the rest of the cast. And it's great to be flying. I'm literally doing an aerial job here, which is the first ever for me. And to fly across the legendary Studio 54 stage is nothing to take for granted.
Yes.
And I have a bubble that I get to fly in every night. And it allows me to be a part of the show where I'm singing with the cast members and singing to the cast members, but then I'm also on stage during a lot of scenes where I'm observing as if I'm an audience member, and it's really great to be able to get the best of both worlds and be in the show and also be able to watch the show.
And you're getting a lot of FaceTime. No, that sounds exciting. I like going to musicals, I like going to plays, and I'm just, I've seen, the behind the scenes on how they have you all harnessed up and, triple, quadruple safety harnesses, making sure that nothing would happen, if something would happen to slip. But it just looks so effortlessly. And, and being in Studio 54, if those walls could talk, the things that those walls have seen and heard are unimaginable.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. Well, the cool thing about Studio 54 is that I made my Broadway debut at this theater. So it's a full circle experience because I did Sondheim and Sondheim here, which was my Broadway show alongside Barbara Cook, Vanessa Williams, Norm Lewis, Tom Wopat. And it was an amazing experience. And then to be able to come back and return to this theater that I really do think of as second home to me because of the fact that I made my Broadway debut here, and to be able to return doing The Moon in Carolina Change, it's so thrilling for me.
And I can imagine it being, the names you're throwing out there of the people you've worked with. And, I read your bio. You've sung for President Clinton. You've sung for President Obama. You've sung on the stage at, Madison Square Garden, Lincoln Center, Carnegie Hall. You've worked with Tom Wopat, Vanessa Williams. These are all common knowledge names. Not like any, if you're listening to my show, you don't have to be into all that. I mean, all these names I just mentioned, just by breathing air, you should know who these people are. And it's exciting to speak with you because, you've worked with such an array of great, talented people, and you've sung for great people who, help run the country and, do their thing. It's just amazing, and how you're able to get this all done. And you make it sound so effortlessly. It's like, I was with Tom Wopat, Vanessa Williams, but it's like, you make it, and which is.
And it's with no intention of trying to name drop. It's just, here's the funny thing. When I just remember walking in and seeing these great artists on like first day of rehearsal and just being starstruck. And I remember seeing Vanessa Williams and just looking at her and being like, oh my God, she's like even more beautiful in person.
Yes.
And seeing what great work ethics she had. And it just, I had a whole newfound respect for these artists because you've known these artists from being a fan, and then you get to work with them, and they become like normal people. They become your colleagues, and you're working together trying to create something, and you start to build a bond, and you start to build a family connection. And
Last call.
Well, if you didn't realize I was at the theater, now you know. There's a scene in the show, and due to safety, they always do like a fight and a flight call, like 15 minutes before, 30 minutes before the show, to make sure everyone is safe, and it's a daily thing. So yes, that is the intercom for the call. I'm not in that fight call.
Okay.
But it certainly brings more authenticity to this moment that I'm actually sitting here doing an interview at Studio 54.
And that's what I love too, because interviewing yourself at the Playhouse, I get speak with musicians at the recording studio. To me, it just makes the interview more authentic and real. Like it's not a sterile environment where you're in a booth somewhere just talking to me. People. I heard a couple of car horns go by before because New York City, the walls are thin and what have you. And that's what I love about it.
New York City.
Now, speaking of all the things you have done and all the people you have worked with, what do you have coming up on your own agenda? What's coming up next? What is
coming up next?
Yes.
Well, my biggest project that I've been working on for a number of years is a musical about the life and music of Dorothy Dandridge, who was the first African-American woman to be nominated for an Oscar in the Outstanding Leading Actress category in the role of Carmen Jones. That was directed by Otto Preminger. And we are doing this show to celebrate her life, to educate people about her journey, about her music, about her passion behind the civil rights movement. There's so many different layers to her that really hasn't been displayed in a movie or stage piece ever. And so this is the opportunity of a lifetime to be able to bring her life to the stage. We just got confirmed that we have dates at Carnegie Hall. We are bringing Dorothy Dandridge to Carnegie Hall in July. Super excited about that. I have an amazing creative team, helmed by director, Tony-winning producer, singer, artist, Samara Tooney.
Okay.
The writers, two-time Emmy winner Trey Ellis, and Broadway legend Shelton Beckton is the composer. And Richard Bell, who is a Tony-nominated producer who did Bubbling Brown Sugar, is my producing partner on this. And we are just so thrilled to be able to bring Dorothy Dandridge life to the stage. And that's been a big passion of mine for many years. So I'm very, very happy that we get to bring this to Carnegie Hall in the spring. And I'm also developing a new dramedy musical TV series called Black Butterfly. And I co-wrote it with award-winning writer Mary McCullum, and Gina Goff from Gina Goff Productions is my producing partner on that. So there's a lot of cool things that are cooking in the kitchen, as we like to say.
So when do you sleep? Do you sleep in the moon bubble? It sounds like you got a lot going on.
No, I don't sleep at all. I don't sleep at all. I actually do sleep, but not so much because I am a mother of a 7-year-old, Zara, and a wife, and I have family and friends, and it's definitely a juggling act to be able to keep things proportioned. And there are a lot of late nights where I will come home from a show and I'll still be up for a couple of hours to do work, or I'll have to wake up early to do work. But I manage it all, and it's. I always say there's no time than the present time to do what you want and to pursue your dreams, and dreams do not have deadlines. And so I want to do it all. I love producing, I love performing, I love writing, I love creating, and there is no reason why I can't do it all. So I have a lot of different things in the oven, and simultaneously they all have its spot to shine. And right now we're doing Carolina Change, and then I get to focus on Dorothy Dandridge in the spring as we continue to develop that show.
Well, hopefully there's a little Z's in there for you somewhere, so you can get a little R and R. But you know what? That's what I love to hear, and I can tell the energy in your voice that you're not someone who sits still. You have many hands and many pots in the kitchen cooking, and that's what I love to hear, because I find the product that you're going to put out is going to wind up being spectacular just because of the energy and dedication you have into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't do it by yourself. You have to have a team of people, and I have an amazing team that's working with me, and I have a village of wonderful friends and family that help along the way with, I need someone to watch my daughter for a day when I have to do 2 shows, at the theater. I mean, it really is a full village that helps helps me with everything that I do. There's no way I can do this alone, and I don't do it alone. So I'm so grateful and so lucky to have such amazing family and friends that surround me and continue to lift me up and help support me.
Well, speaking of support, how can my audience find, follow, and keep up with everything N.Kenge?
Everything N.Kenge, yes. Well, I am Diva N.Kenge on social media. So that's DIVA NKENGE. And I'm Diva N.Kenge on Instagram, on Twitter, on N.Kenge's Music, on Facebook. And if you want to come and visit me on my website, it's nkengemusic.com. And on that website, you can subscribe to my newsletters. I'm also Diva N.Kenge on TikTok. I just joined TikTok family. So
Okay, yeah.
I'm trying to spread the love on all different platforms. And yes, and I also send out a newsletter once a month to let everyone know about performances that I'm doing on stage or on TV, and giving people a heads up on things. And sometimes we get great deals, specials or discounts, or things like that for campaigns. So if someone wants to be included in that and know what's going on, then definitely go to nkengemusic.com and subscribe to my newsletter, and they will be someone that I would send information to on a monthly basis, once a month. And just so grateful that, when you come to see the show, Carolina Change, come backstage after the show at the stage door and wait and say hi. And I come and I greet everyone, before I go home after the show. So, and sign programs and all of that. So, I love meeting new people and appreciate the support that everyone gives us when it comes to being performers.
And you know what? The audience appreciates that. That's one thing when I go to a play or a musical, I love the back door, because everyone comes in, comes out, and 99% of the actors and actresses come out. They mingle with the crowd. They sign autographs, and it's such more intimate. You go to movies, you're never going to see Brad Pitt or Tom Hanks. Even if you're at the movie premiere, you're still never going to get to see them because the police and the barricades.
Absolutely, yeah. They got security detail on them.
Right, but the theater. If you want to hang out after the show, a half hour, 45 minutes. I find on average is by the time people start coming out the back door, stage door. And it's so intimate. You get to meet the people that you just watched put on a super performance. Well, Emmy-nominated, award-winning songstress N.Kenge, thank you for being on the Big Fat Joey Show. I wish you nothing but luck and success in all that you do, and break a leg.
Thanks so much for having me, and looking forward to seeing you in the audience.
Yes. And I am looking forward to hopefully getting into the city and, getting out and about and trying to get back to normal, because, it's been a crazy 2 years at this point, let's call it.
Absolutely. We have a new normal now, but, we're doing our best in making sure that everyone is safe and healthy and still being able to have theater come to them.
Definitely, and that keeps New York alive and kicking. Well, N.Kenge, thank you once again for being on the Big Fat Joey Show. Be well, stay safe, break a leg, and we'll speak soon.
Great, thank you.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
What a great interview. Her energy is infectious. I got off that interview that night. I felt like I drank 5 cups of espresso. I got so much more work done. It was amazing. Great interview. Great performer, multi-talented performer. You definitely have to check her out. Also, check out all the other projects she mentioned. She has so much in store for everyone. It is amazing. Up next, now is my interview with D.K. Lyons. And after that, we're going to go out listening to his latest hit song, Katie in the Moment, off of his album, Vandalism. Until next week, everyone, this is Big Fat Joey. Big Fat Joey Show. Biggest thing on radio, reminding you to make every sandwich count. Peace. All right, everyone, on the line, let's welcome singer, songwriter, D.K. Lyons. D.K., welcome to the Big Fat Joey Show. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for being on. Love having my indie artists on. I know I say that a lot, but It's really those of you in the independent music world who really keep my show going and keep my audience entertained, because, listening to the regular radio, top 40, channel to channel, it's pretty much the same songs. You hear the same 20, 30, 40 songs a day, no matter where you are. But not when you're listening to the Big Fat Joey Show. All the indie artists like yourselves have some great, great music that is being discovered, and it's out and about. Well, thank you for being on.
No, thanks for having me. And I love that you're, giving the spotlight to indie artists. I think, like you mentioned, regular radio is pretty much the same stuff over and over again. But, in today's day and age with, streaming services and social media, there's so many amazing independent artists out there. I feel like I fall in love with a new one every single day. So really appreciate you, having this platform and kind of shedding a spotlight on indie artists. Well,
thank you. Now, speaking of spreading the spotlight, and maybe I got my tongue untied here, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is D.K. Lyons?
So I'm a singer-songwriter originally from Massachusetts. Actually grew up on Cape Cod, funny enough. I tell people that, and they're, usually like, oh, go to the beach all the time. You grew up, in a vacation home, and I actually kind of grew up in a wooded area on the north side of Cape Cod, to really kind of creative home growing up, and started writing songs when I was, 5 years old. Started with kind of simple song titles, eventually progressed to lyrics, eventually kind of taught myself how to play guitar, learned how to record using GarageBand, and, kind of from there, it's been off to the races in terms of just writing, recording demos, and all that kind of stuff. And it's funny, I like to tell people I've written and recorded over probably 1,500 demos in my life.
Wow.
But the first 1,400 or so were pretty terrible. So it's all about just kind of refining the process, getting feedback from people. And over the last 3 years or so, it's when I really started to hone my craft and take it at that next level of kind of commitment and seriousness. Stepped inside a studio for the first time in 2018 and recorded my first EP with my longtime collaborator, Steve Hansen. I was based in Stamford, Connecticut, actually. And since then, put out 5-song EP, then got a 12-song album last year. And then with the way that the pandemic has gone and, live music not returning really until this year, and even now it's still kind of tentative, made the decision last year to kind of hop back in the studio and kind of bridge the gap, with some new music. So, spent 5 or 6 months kind of going back and forth, and now I've got a brand new 6-song EP that's coming out on October 9th or 29th.
What's the name of that?
Yeah, so the EP is called Vandalism, and it's kind of a collection of these songs. Kind of got struck with this idea of vandalism in the literal sense, where, you've got kind of this, dichotomy of illegal vandalism when people are kind of destroying things and using a negative mark, versus the positive kind of elements of vandalism, street art and kind of expression and leaving a mark in a good way. And, the EP kind of focuses around the emotional side of that. There's the types of emotional vandalism that, are negative and kind of leave you scarred and all of that. But then it's also, this element of kind of beautiful vandalism when, someone or something happens to you and it kind of leaves this more beautiful, artistic, emotional mark on you. So, yeah, so it's got, 6 songs. Was put out the first song, Summer Lullabies, in July. Kind of this big, raucous 90s pop rock influenced anthem. And then about 2 weeks ago, put out the second single, which is more of a kind of indie pop Prince infused, kind of dance song called Katie in the Moment. So it's been awesome to see kind of the feedback on those, and I'm excited for everyone to hear the rest of the EP when it comes out here.
Now, first and foremost, where'd you get the title Katie in the Moment? Why not, Susie in the Moment, Kathy in the Moment, Tiffany in the Moment? What's with Katie?
It's a great question. Honestly, that was one of those times as an artist where the name just kind of struck me and I had to roll with it. And, the name Katie doesn't even appear in the song at all. It is obviously insinuated that it's about this kind of really, empowered, independent woman named Katie who kind of frequents her local bar and, kind of shuts down toxic masculinity and is this kind of beacon of, independence and strength. But it's funny, the name Katie doesn't actually ever appear in the song. It was just one of those things where one second I was, writing the song and the next second I had the title and I didn't know where it came from and just kind of rolled with it ever since then. So that's where that one comes from.
And sometimes I find in my own personal life writing or doing things, sometimes the first idea is the best idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a tendency, especially, in today's day and age where there's so much, feedback loop when you've got social media and all that kind of stuff to overthink things and kind of continue to try to like tinker and refine. But I totally agree with you. I think there's been so many moments where I've had that same realization where that first idea is the best idea and, you can try to change it or, try to make it better. But, oftentimes you come back to that first idea because it comes from that, kind of ethereal place of inspiration that, you can't really explain. You just got to appreciate it for when it happens.
Now, you mentioned earlier on, with the pandemic and what have you, live entertainment has not really come back full force. A lot of the places are closed. Unfortunately, some of them permanently. Some of them are still only doing, limited seating and what have you. What do you have in the pipeline for us? You have any tour dates coming up? You have anywhere where we can see you live?
Yeah. So to your point, it was tragic. I had, my first kind of real gigs booked last summer. We're kind of trying to line up a bunch of dates, just in and around the New York City area. And then of course the pandemic hit and shut everything down. So it's been, just kind of waiting it out and trying to get back to it, which, able to do that in August, start to play, a few shows, in and around the city. And then, we're trying to line up some dates, for hopefully later this year, looking at early December right now and into January for a couple dates in New York, Brooklyn, and hopefully trying to line up something in Philly and then my kind of home city of Boston as well. So working through all that now, and like you said, it's been tough obviously for the the independent venues, and obviously the benefit of being an A-list recording artist that's on top 40 radio is you're put a concert on after being away for 2 years and everyone wants to go. But I think within the friends that I have here in the New York music community, it's been tough for everyone on the independent level to kind of come back at full force. So going to keep grinding and keep putting the good word out there that live music is back and it's better than ever, and hopefully people can kind of start coming back out in full force and have that moment, because there's as I'm sure there's nothing like a live show and connecting with an audience and that feeling of euphoria at a live music show. So hopefully more to announce here very soon about what's coming up.
Now you hit the nail right on the head. A live show, especially in an intimate setting of a restaurant, bar, concert hall, venue. Obviously, like you said, the top 40 stars, when they're at Madison Square Garden, you're sitting with another what's 25, 30,000 people, I guess the Garden can hold, give or take. It's a lot more intimate when you're at a music venue that holds a couple hundred people. Everyone's there because they want to hear your music. You're close to them. You're up front and personal with them, and it's just a great listening experience. Hearing someone live as opposed to either on the radio or as opposed to a recording or something of that nature. So I'm right there with you. Hopefully these venues can start opening and stay open, because that seems to be the other thing. We all saw what happened on Broadway last week. There's a lot of shows opened, and some of them had to close the next day because of COVID infection.
Yeah, it's crazy. I know, and I think unfortunately, it's so hard to kind of predict and say that it's going to be this one moment where things completely turn back to the way they used to be. But I think right now all we can do is both the entertainment side and as fans support things when they come up, and appreciate them. Like you said with Broadway, it's so terrible to see that, and it's just kind of the reality right now. But And on a lighter note, obviously, though, live music, to your point, so different than listening to a record or a single or something like that. And I think one of my favorite things about it is, kind of crafting those moments in the show where you have that audience interaction. I've kind of built into my set some really fun, interactive moments, and those are the best moments when you kind of break that wall between the stage and the crowd and have those kind of collective, unison, joyful moments where you're really connecting with the crowd, and that's what you do it for, right?
Yeah, that really hooks the audience when you break that wall between the stage and the crowd, and they're involved with you, and you see the musicians, hey, come on, clap along or sing along. That's organic. That is exciting. That is immersive for the crowd that's there, and for you, as the entertainer, it stokes your fire to keep rocking and rolling on that stage that night.
Absolutely, yeah, couldn't agree more.
Now, speaking of rocking and rolling, stage appearances, albums dropping, music currently already out, how can my audience find, follow, and keep up with everything D.K. Lyons?
Absolutely. So, yeah, I'm on all social media platforms at D.K. Lyons, Lyons, music. So all across the board, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube. I actually just finished shooting a video for Katie in the Moment about a week ago that I'm really excited about. I think it's definitely the best shot video I've done to date. So that'll be coming out probably about a week or two after the EP drops. Just trying to work through that right now. But I'd say if you want to get to know me, I've definitely put a lot of emphasis on making music videos. I've got a background in video production, directed dozens of kind of pro athlete shoots and entertainers, and done all this stuff over, the kind of career that I've had to this point in parallel with music, and, really, really love that blend too. As much as that, much as we talked about the recording and the live show, I think the music video element is another great way to kind of, connect with fans and tell a story in a really visual way. So, I put out a pretty crazy video this summer for Summer Lullabies. That was a lot of fun making. And then, like I said, we got this, Katie in the Moment video dropping here in the next month as well, that I'm super excited about, and got to work on with a bunch of my friends, and got some cool comic book integration along with all the live footage.
Nice.
I'll leave that as the teaser. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I like that. It reminds me, I just had it in my head and I just blanked out. What's that? What's it? Is it AHA? When they did the song that was, it was all
Take on Me, right? It was transitioning between the. Yep. Oh yeah. Oh, that's one of my all-time favorite videos. Absolutely.
Yep. So that once you said that, that's what I envisioned. I was like, okay, I can see that. and you have that background, so obviously for you it comes a little more natural, a little more easy. You have the ability to speak up on exactly what you're looking for, and what you expect the final product to be.
Yeah, definitely helps, and I've actually been the one to edit a good amount of my videos too, just because, again, I've got that background, and super blessed to, know a bunch of really talented people that, work in video and do lighting and all that kind of stuff too. So, very, very lucky to have those connections. And, like I said, it's so much fun making the videos. Obviously you get to, show another side of your personality and, take these songs to a completely different place too at the same time,
Yeah, no, that definitely takes everyone to a different place and time. So one more time, how can my audience find, follow, and keep up with D.K. Lyons?
Absolutely. Yep. So it's at D.K. Lyons. That's Lyons. Across Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Give me a follow. Take a listen to my music, and stay tuned for the new EP coming out. I really hope people connect with it and like it. And I think there's a lot of really great music on there besides the two singles that have come out today. So once again, give me a follow, stream my music, and appreciate the listeners for supporting the show and listening to what I had to say. Well,
D.K. Lyons, I'm excited that your current hit song Katie in the Moment is out, and your EP Vandalism is coming out October 29th. Well, D.K. Lyons, thank you for being on the Big Fat Joey Show. I wish you nothing but luck and success in all that you do, and we'll speak soon.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye now.
like coming clean. Boy, you're not taking it home. I watch his face as his plans are raised. I just thought you should know. You're just a flashlight that drinking my glass. My eyes are set on the sun. So be a darling, be moving along. Don't fear being alone. She took a sip and pulled a 20 out and hit the wood, and she told me, see now, they say perfection is not worth fighting for, but you're gonna fool me up wishing one out the door. Tell me a story when you get around to coming back to this wasted town. We'll talk about this dream they call your life, and how my timing will never be right. Comes after work in an untucked shirt, making her usual rounds. She said, knows I've heard her just hollow words. I don't let them weigh me down. She's gonna sit and ask what's on her mind. I said, spilled drinks and empty paper lines. She laughs endearingly and said the past is like running water. You'll never grasp it. Tell me a story when you get around to coming back to this wasted town. We'll talk about this dream they call your life, and how my timing will never be right. Tell me a story when